Hi, guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. And today, I positively, absolutely want to do a reaction video that I've been dying to do for years. Years. This is like Forrest Gump met like Convoy or something like that. I swear. Okay. Now, you know, maybe I'm being mean. So comment down below and you let me know if you think I'm being mean. But this is a women's rah rah promotional video and I just don't get it. So hit the like, subscribe, and we're going to get moving.
I always wanted to help people, and I eventually earned a doctorate degree and was involved in helping people. I have a PhD in clinical counseling. I was the director of student services at a very well-known college, but it seemed like every day women would come into my office. They would tell me a story about having been the victims of some type of violence, violent assault, sexual abuse. And these are people that I had rubbed shoulders with, I worked with for years, and yet if they had not told me, I would not have known. And so I knew if they were suffering in silence, how many more people out there were going through the same thing. And so I finally came to a point that I could not live one more day without personally doing something about that.
So all these people over years. Now, I respect the fact that she wants to help people. I love helping people too. Okay. Sometimes though, I'm sorry. Personal opinion, I often think that people in the psychological field are crazy to begin with, and that's why they went in the field to begin with. Okay. So she can't live one more day without doing something about it, but she negates the fact that she was helping people. She was helping women that she knew and trusted her for years. She just said it, colleagues and students. So, you know, let's see what she's going to do.
So I left my career, packed everything that I could up on a bicycle, and alone struck out across the country to seek out these women to be a voice for them.
So she left all the people that she knew that trusted her and sought her advice to go out looking for women who were also abused. I don't know what the point was because she was helping people where she was. And then she went on the road on a bike where she won't ever see these people again. What kind of help did she think she was going to do then?
I had no agenda, I had no schedule, and every single day somebody would come into my path and I would just start telling my story and why I was doing what I was doing.
Lady, I've watched this video about 100 times and I still don't understand what you were doing.
And I would always hear those 4 words, it happened to me. And then it would blossom from there.
So it happened to me over and over across the country. So there was no reason to go anywhere. What was she going to do? Ew, abuse. Now, granted, it's possible that this was an hour-long video and they cut it down to 7 minutes. So maybe there's a lot that's not coming across. Maybe there's a lot of information that she said and it just got, you know, tossed out. Um, but if somebody could figure out what her point was, please let me know. Please let me know.
Almost a year I was out on the road by myself. It reignited that sense of adventure and the open road and the pioneer spirit of going across America that had become dormant, behind a desk in corporate America for so many years. I was 57 years old, did not know what to do with the rest of my life. And I was talking to a friend of mine and he said, you should drive a truck.
So why 1 year? What did she accomplish? And now she's 57 and she has to decide what her career was. So let's go into trucking. That sounds like a good idea. I don't know. Maybe she thought we were crazy and we needed help. I don't know.
And I thought about that for a minute and I said, I think you're right. And so on my 57th birthday, I boarded a Greyhound bus and came cross country to Springfield, Missouri. When I made the decision to go into trucking, I had some concerns. One concern that I had was that I was a female entering into a male-dominated industry, and I thought that I was probably going to have to fight my way in, and I was going to have to really work twice as hard to prove that I was, as good as them. But that turned out not to be the case.
Feminist bullcrap. Mm-mm. See? And this is part of the problem that I have is that who convinced her that that was going to be an issue? Other women. Not the way men treated her, but the way other women convinced her that it would be an issue.
Was safety. I was really concerned about being a female alone on a truck in the middle of nowhere in the United States of America.
So, being a female on a truck, an 80,000-pound killing machine that has doors and locks and windows that protect you, that was more dangerous in her mind than going on a bike across the country. She's at truck stops where you can punch out the window and hit the window next to you, where you can actually scream and men will come running out and hear you and come to you. But that was scary. But the bike, nah, just a Forrest Gump moment. I don't know, maybe it's me. No, no. I just keep getting this life is a box of cherries moment and feeling watching this video.
The third challenge that I was facing and concern that I had was my physical strength, because I don't have a lot of upper body strength. And I didn't know if I would be able to handle the rigors of being a truck driver. There is nothing that I have to do in the reefer division that I can't, as a weakling, be able to handle. So
Now, I think this is just disingenuous. And the reason is that the landing gear in heavy loads, we do a lot of meat loads, beer loads. That landing gear can be really tough. Okay. And I am a big, strong woman, and that landing gear can be tough. Also, they're not talking about climbing up in the trailer and installing the load locks and things like that. They people I don't like it when these promotional video type of things, they don't give you the real realities of what this job can be. That's why I always make it a point to try to show, it's a snowstorm, it's an ice, I'm walking along and I'm slipping and I'm sliding on the snow. Um, it's freezing because you need to know the realities of the job and the conditions before you come out here. And yes, the landing gear is sometimes a problem. I have put my whole weight on the landing gear, and people are going to say, well, there's a low gear. Yes, there's a low gear, but when you go to turn it, you can turn like 100 spins equals one spin of the high gear. So I. I know one of you people, you mechanic types, you're going to go down there and say, no, it's only 32. Whatever. Okay. But, I mean, yes, sometimes you could get a yard dog to come over and pick up the trailer so that you can adjust the landing gear legs. Um, but sometimes there's not anybody around. If a guy's around, sure, you can ask him, but sometimes there's not somebody around. Sometimes there isn't a yard dog at the customer. So I just don't like things like this is disingenuous. And there's something else that's coming up that a couple more things that I think are disingenuous.
States. I've been to every mountain range in the United States of America. I've been across the plains. I've been in a situation where I've seen the sun rise and the moon set at the same time over the Mojave Desert. I mean, how many people see that? I laugh when I'm driving on the open road and I see these people in RVs, because I am seeing the exact same scenery that they are seeing. The difference is they're having money going out. I'm making money.
Okay. Another disingenuous. Okay. I hate when people compare trucking to RVing. We don't really get to see things. You have to really make it a point to get off that truck to be able to go sightseeing or something like that. You know, I've had students that came in thinking that this was going to be like a tourism type of situation. Oh, let's just park the truck and we're going to go to Vegas. Let's just park the truck and we're going to go to Disneyland. It doesn't work like that. Okay. And you're usually driving through and you're looking real fast. You don't get the stop. You know, if you stop too long, you're not making money. Now, yes, you can go and you can take, a 34 someplace, or you can take home time someplace for a weekend, or, 5, 6 days or whatever you want to do. But it's not like, hey, this is RVing. RVing is, it's free. It's freedom. It's not free. It's freedom. You know, it's easier to park. You're not limited to your drive hours. It's totally different, and I really don't like when companies or people promote this kind of thing, because I think it's really given new drivers wrong information and wrong impression. The majority of new people that come into trucking do not last a whole year because of the lifestyle.
It may be tough in some instances, it's challenging, but the rewards are just far outreaching. And when you can go through a couple of weeks with that female student and who may have children at home that she doesn't have the money to buy food for, but you can help her learn how to drive that truck and to be able to pass that CDL and then earn a living for her family, there is no greater sense of reward than that, and being able to contribute to another human being, and a female at that.
Okay. Again, disingenuous. Okay. She said, a woman that has children at home. A woman that has children at home that comes to a CDL program, and then whether it's a local school or, they come out on the road to a mega carrier training company, they're going to be away from home. I personally don't think that this is a great career for a woman with children. Even if you get a local job, you're still going to be working 12 hours a day. Most local companies, they want a year of experience before they'll even hire you. So I really think it's disingenuous to um try to market this to people, to women with young kids. And a lot of women do not have a support system at home. There are women I know that they came out here and they left the kids home with their mother or their sister or something like that. Not everybody has that. And so I've seen women come through this program and they're all starry-eyed like, "Oh, this is going to work." And well, then what? Then they get here and they owe for the CDL school. And then what? Then they find out, oh, when you said that I wasn't going home for 3 weeks at a time or 4 weeks at a time, you really meant that? You know, I think trucking is an amazing skill, and I think it's something that can really get somebody out of debt. But I also think it's disingenuous to not explain all of the issues. And I've said this in other videos. I really do not like children on a truck. I don't. There are too many accidents out there on the road. There are too many things that can go wrong. Prime Inc. just had like 3 rollovers last week. Now, what if there was a 7-year-old in that truck? There are plenty of accidents. When the safety meetings, they would play the outward camera of like a driver jackknifing. Well, what if that was a little child in that truck? I just don't think it's a good life for a small child, and I don't like the way that the people promote this. I think it's really disingenuous, and think it could be detrimental too, because if the woman comes out and they sign the contract for the $5,000 for the CDL portion of the school, then what happens? Yeah, okay, now they got their CDL and they can't get hired locally. They don't want to take the time to go out on the road to team train, so now they're hit with a $5,000 bill. That's not cool. I appreciate her intent to help. I have that same motivation. I have that same desire. But I don't care who the person is, what they look like, who they worship, who they have sex with. It doesn't matter to me. What their skin color is, it doesn't matter. You know what I want? I want more people on the road that aren't going to kill me. Rule number one, all my students right now will comment down below, tell everybody what rule number one is. Rule number one is don't kill Kiersey. Because if Swift is flying down the side of the mountain and it's driven by a female driver, they're not going to look and say, "Oh, I'm not going to hit the blue truck there because Kiersey's a female. I'm going to go kill CR England." It's not going to work like that. So I hope you enjoy this. Comment down below. Let me know. Am I crazy or did you see like the whole point of this video? I still don't know what the heck the woman was trying to do. But thank you so much. And you guys, I hope to see you out here. Chucking along. Bye.